This is a warning, a judgment that is coming from Yahweh to America. I want to share with you from the book of Ezekiel, chapter 21, what Yahweh showed me as I was reading this through His Holy Spirit, and shared with me what is coming to America. Verse 1. And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face toward Jerusalem, and drop thy word toward the holy places, and prophesy against the land of Israel. And say to the land of Israel, Thus saith Yahweh, Behold, I am against thee, and I will draw forth my sword out of my sheath, and I will cut off from thee the righteous and the wicked. Seeing then that I will cut off from thee the righteous and the wicked, therefore shall my sword go forth out of his sheath against all flesh, from the south to the north. Okay, let's stop there. Many of you already know that the borders, which is in the south, are opened. And it's no coincidence that is opened, for Yahweh allowed it to be opened. From the south shall this sword come, all the way up to the north. Let's continue. Verse 5. That all flesh may know that I, Yahweh, have drawn forth my sword out of his sheath, it shall not return any more. So right there in verse 5, you see that who brought the sword was Yahweh. Because there's many of us that think that how can a loving Elohim do such a thing? Well, if we keep reading, but I can tell you right now that this nation is not pleasing in the eyes of Yahweh. Okay? Many Christians that call themselves Christians are false Christians. Okay? They're not doing and obeying the commandments of Elohim. They're doing whatever they want to do, whatever's pleasing to their flesh. All right, let's keep going. Verse 6. Sigh, therefore, thou son of man, with the breaking of thy loins, and with bitterness sigh before their eyes. And it shall be, when they say unto thee, Wherefore sighest thou? That thou shalt answer, For the tidings, because it cometh, and every heart shall melt, and all hands shall be feeble, and every spirit shall faint, and all knees shall be weak, as water. Behold, it cometh, and shall be brought to pass, saith my sovereign Yahweh. So there we see that the response of how people are going to be when this sword comes. Okay? The prophet Ezekiel was already breaking down, in tears for his people. And they were asking him, why are you so sad? I mean, we're over here jumping for joy, We're enjoying the grace of Yahweh and doing all kinds of stuff, and he's over here in the council of Yahweh, seeing what's going to come upon them. And they're asking him, what's your problem? Why are you so sad? Why is your countenance low? Shouldn't you be rejoicing like us? And it's going to catch them by surprise, because they don't think that a loving Elohim is going to do such a thing. But he is. Let's continue. Verse 8. Again the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy, and say, Thus saith Yahweh. Say a sword, a sword is sharpened and also furbished. It is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. Should we then make mirth? It contemneth the rod of my son as every tree. And he hath given it to be furbished, that it may be handled. This sword is sharpened, and it is furbished, to give it into the hand of the slayer. I wonder who the slayer may be. Verse 12. Carry and howl, Son of man, for it shall be upon my people, it shall be upon all the princes of Israel. Terrors by reason of the sword shall be upon my people. Smite therefore upon thy thigh, because it is a trial. And what if the sword contemn even the rod? It shall be no more, saith the sovereign Yahweh. So in verse 13 it says it is a trial. A trial for what? To separate what he said in let me see which verse was this. Okay, verse 4. That he was going to do that he's going to cut off the righteous and the wicked. There's going to be a separation between the two. There's going to be a distinction between the wicked and the righteous, between those who consider themselves Christians and doing what Yahweh wants them to do and professing the faith, and they're not keeping his commandments. He's going to separate those from the righteous. We're going to know who's who when this sword comes, because a lot of people are going to catch him by surprise, but those who are in him and know our Elohim, we will not be surprised. He's going to keep those in righteousness. Let's keep going. Verse 13, because it is a trial, right? All right, verse 14. Thou therefore, son of man, prophesy and smite thy hands together, and let the sword be doubled the third time, the sword of the slain. It is the sword of the great men that are slain, which entereth into their privy chambers. I have set the point of the sword against all their gates. Against who gates? Our gates. And gates representing borders. So the sword is pointing towards our borders. Continue reading in verse 15. That their heart may faint. Whose heart? The people's heart. And their ruins be multiplied. It is made bright. It is wrapped up for the slaughter. It's talking about the sword. Go thee one way or other. That's verse 16. Go thee one way or other, either on the right hand or on the left, whichsoever thy face is set. Okay, here is saying that it doesn't matter where you look, whether to the left or to the right. It's coming from the south all the way to the north, and whether you look to the left or to the right, that's where it's going to be. So it's going to be all over the place. Okay? Verse 17, I will also smite my hands together, and I will cause my fury to rest. I, Yahweh, have said it. Why is he furious? I wonder why. Because we're such a Christian nation. Why would he be so furious against us? If we're such a holy people and separated unto him, why would he be so furious? The word of Yahweh came unto me again, saying, also, thou son of man, appoint thee 2 ways that the sword of the king of Babylon may come. Both twain shall come forth out of one land, and choose thou a place. Choose it at the head of the way to the city. Appoint a way that the sword may come to Rabbath of the Ammonites, and to Judah in Jerusalem, the defenced. For the king of Babylon stood at the parting of the way, at the head of the two ways, to use divination. He made his arrows bright. He consulted with images. He looked in the liver. At his right hand was the divination for Jerusalem, to appoint captains, to open the mouth in the slaughter, to lift up the voice with shouting, to appoint battering rams against the gates, to cast a mount and to build a fort. Okay, as I read this, you can see from verses, from 20 to 22, which I was reading, this is what they're doing. This is the plan of the enemy, of those who are going to come, that Yahweh is allowing to come. They're planning, okay? When they're talking about divinations, because they have false gods that they pray to, and they consult, just like Yahweh's prophets consult with him and take counsel of him to warn the people. Well, they also have counsels, demonic people that give them counsel to what they should do. So this is, I think, what's going on here is that this is what they're planning on doing. They're preparing, and they're getting their counsel from Satan himself. Verse 23, and it shall be unto them as a false divination in their sight, to them that have sworn oaths. But he will call to remembrance the iniquity, that they may be taken. Therefore, thus saith my sovereign Yahweh, because ye have made your iniquity to be remembered, in that your transgressions are discovered, so that in all your doings your sins do appear. Because I say that ye are come to remembrance, ye shall be taken with the hand, and thou profane wicked prince of Israel, whose day is come when iniquity shall have an end. Thus saith my sovereign Yahweh, remove the diadem, and take off the crown. This shall not be the same. Exalt him that is low, and abase him that is high. There's going to be some people that are going to be humbled. People that thought themselves to be great will be humbled. I will overturn. I wonder why he said it 3 times. I guess to make it clear to us what he's gonna do. Verse 27, I will overturn it, and it shall be no more until he come, whose right it is, and I will give it to him. So, I think he's talking about Yeshua right here. He's going to overturn it, and it shall be no more until he come, whose right it is, and I will give it to him. And thou, son of man, prophesy and say, thus saith my sovereign Yahweh concerning the Ammonites and concerning their reproach, even say thou, the sword is drawn, for the slaughter it is furbished, to consume because of the glittering. Whiles they see vanity unto thee, whiles they divine a lie unto thee, to bring thee upon the necks of them that are slain of the wicked, whose day is come, when their iniquity shall be an end. Shall I cause it to return into his sheath? I will judge thee in the place where thou was created, in the land of thy nativity. And I will pour out mine indignation upon thee, and I will blow against thee in the fire of my wrath, and deliver thee into the hand of the brutish men, and skillful to destroy. Thou shalt be for fuel to the fire. Thy blood shall be in the midst of the land. Thou shalt be no more remembered. For I, Yahweh, have spoken it. America as we know it is going to fall. And Yahweh is going to bring the sword. The nations around us are going to look to America and say, I can't believe what I'm seeing. This nation, this great nation that everyone followed. from this nation, everyone followed. You know, we had Christians going across the ocean to other countries to preach this false gospel. We made other countries drink and eat of this corruption, of this iniquity that we, the people here in America that call themselves Christians, have given unto the other nations to drink and eat. And now Yahweh is going to bring this judgment upon us, upon this nation. But He has those that are righteous. He has those that are righteous protected. He's going to reserve them. He's going to keep them safe. But those that are wicked are the ones that are going to see that sword come. There's going to be a part 2 to this. Is also a warning for America. The part 2, I'm going to be speaking of what you're going to be seeing taking place here in America when the sword comes. So be on the lookout for part 2. May Yah bless you.